When did money start feeling like a verdict instead of a tool, like a spotlight that exposes everything you fear you are not? Perhaps it was the first time you looked at the balance and felt your chest tighten, or the night you lay awake replaying numbers that refused to add up. Maybe it was that scroll through other people's wins, launches, exits, new keys in a palm, and the small sting you tried to ignore. Your body knew before your thoughts did. The breath went shallow, the shoulders rose. The mind began rushing for exits. I see that, I honor that, and I am not here to shame it. I am here to give it a wiser rhythm. There is a quiet fatigue that comes from chasing the flash. It burns hot and leaves you cold, promising acceleration and delivering anxiety. You tell yourself it's only a season, yet every notification pulls a thread from your focus. And by evening, you are stitched with urgency and numbness at the same time. The nervous system learns this dance. Cortisol and dopamine pass the baton, and your choices start coming from the alarm rather than the vision. You know this because even your wins feel fragile. You exhale for a minute and then brace for the next sprint. Tonight, we will do something different. We will teach your mind and body a slower power. I'm inviting you into a way that honors pace without losing momentum, a way that treats wisdom as the engine and money as the exhaust. The promise is simple and demanding, from 0 to 1 million, not as spectacle but as stewardship, not to impress anyone but to become someone. Measured, clear, and deeply at peace with how you create, store, and share value. There is no complicated jargon here, only things you can test in your real life, with your real constraints, and see the compound effect bloom, step by step, little by little. Strong roots first, tall branches later. This path is ancient and contemporary at once. It draws from a man remembered for asking not for gold, but for wisdom, and discovering that the latter quietly attracts the former. You have heard lines such as, gathered little by little, a good name chosen over great riches, and a time for every purpose. They are not ornaments, they are operating principles. They speak to rhythm, to reputation, to seasons. They insist that substance becomes strategy, that integrity is not a moral luxury, but a balance sheet advantage, and that timing is more than luck. It is the humility to move with reality rather than against it. When your inner world is frantic, you spend to feel alive and commit to feel safe. When your inner world is steady, you invest to build and partner to multiply. This is not self-help wallpaper. It is biological. A regulated body restores access to clear thinking, to long-horizon judgment, to patience that is not numb, but alert. Calm is not the absence of ambition. Calm is what ambition looks like when it grows up. You will feel this in your breath as numbers become less menacing and more legible, in your jaw as deals shift from rushed to right-sized, and in your sleep when your decisions stop chasing you into the dark. Calm systems compound, scattered systems leak, so let's set a new baseline together. Shoulders down, jaw soft, breath filling the ribs. As you breathe, let the truth land. You are not behind, you are here. Here is where compounding begins. Here is where the frantic story ends and a faithful one starts. Here is where you choose to be the kind of person whose word is collateral, whose habits are engines, whose relationships are covenants, and whose seasons are designed rather than endured. Here is where you stop bargaining with chance and begin partnering with wisdom. Along this journey, you will notice a pattern. We will not chase 10 things at once. We will repeat the right things until they sink from concept into reflex. You will hear certain phrases many times on purpose, because the mind remembers through rhythm and the heart learns through return. Little by little, little by little, little by little. This is not slowness. This is depth. This is how a name strengthens before numbers scale, how insight matures before income expands, how a vineyard sweetens because it accepted the pruning, and how the right people turn effort into force. If you keep showing up to the right small choices, The math stops being mystical. It becomes merciful. You will also notice that we make room for your humanity. There will be days you doubt, days you feel small, days you are tempted to trade long-term clarity for short-term relief. You are not disqualified by those days. You are formed by what you do next. You will learn to pause before you pounce, to count the cost before you commit, to let sleep be a business tool, and to measure progress in behaviors that are within your control. Your nervous system will thank you for this. Your spreadsheets will too. Repeat after me, slowly enough to believe it. I will build at a pace I can keep. I will build with a character I can live with. I will build with a circle I can trust. This is a spiritual path because it asks what kind of person is becoming wealthy in you. And it is a practical path because it tells you how to design your days so that your future thanks your present. We will turn knowledge into tested experiments and experiments into measured improvements. We will favor habits that compound over hacks that collapse. We will choose partners who multiply our integrity, not our chaos. We will hold cash when the season asks for storage, and sow boldly when the weather turns. In time, you will feel the dignity that comes from moving in rhythm with reality rather than wrestling it. Before we move forward, place one hand on your chest and notice the weight of your own attention. Let it settle from the noise back into your body. Name one desire you carry into this journey, not the performative one, the true one. Maybe it is freedom from the tight throat. Maybe it is confidence to make one clear decision. Maybe it is the courage to say no when no is wise. Hold that desire with respect. This is why you are here. This is why you will stay. Now, with that desire anchored and your breath steady, we step onto the path that turns the idea of wealth into the practice of wisdom. No theatrics, no shortcuts, only the next right choice, repeated until it becomes who you are, little by little. Strong roots first, you tall branches later. There is a familiar ache that appears when the world starts clapping for quick wins and your progress arrives in quiet steps. The body hears the applause in the distance and tightens as if it is missing the train. The eyes scan for shortcuts. The jaw clenches. The breath thins. A feeling whispers that if it is not fast, it is failing. That whisper becomes a drumbeat after midnight. You count weeks in headlines and judge days in bursts, and the nervous system rides a roller coaster of spikes and drops. The mind begins rehearsing an argument against your own pace. Yet in the middle of this noise, there is a different rhythm, older than the markets and kinder than the feeds, a rhythm that does not shout and does not rush. Little by little, little by little, little by little. Haste promises relief while quietly draining strength. The brain, flooded with urgency, narrows its field of view and calls that clarity. It is not clarity, it is tunnel vision. Cortisol sharpens the edges and dulls the long view. Dopamine rewards the chase more than the harvest, and soon the calendar fills with motion that does not move you. The story becomes a string of almosts and a stash of what-ifs, and each attempt to sprint your way to certainty leaves another thread pulled loose. A different pattern begins when the body learns safety again. When safety returns, wisdom returns. When wisdom returns, the future stops looking like an enemy and starts looking like an ally that multiplies small faithfulness into visible fruit. Ancient counsel speaks softly about this. Wealth gathered little by little grows. The words sound simple until they are tested in rooms thick with pressure, in months that demand bills and offer few breaks. Yet the sentence stands. Little by little grows. It does not argue with your hunger. It does not scold your ambition. It simply names the way creation itself compounds effort. Soil does not become generous because a farmer yells at it. Soil becomes generous because seed met time and time met care. The same law applies in your spreadsheets and in your pulse. The slower power wins because the slower power lasts. Picture two tables. One is lit by neon, the air bright, the promise immediate. This table tells stories about jackpots and legends and the way everything could change by morning. The other table belongs to the ant, not the gambler. Grain by grain, season by season, the storehouse grows in a way that looks unimpressive on any single day and undeniable across many days. The gambler's table offers fireworks and hangovers. The ant's granary offers bread and sleep. One takes your presence and gives you a performance. The other takes your patience and gives you provision. Feel the difference in your chest as you stand by each table. One speeds your heart into a flutter. The other deepens your breath. Stewardship changes the way numbers feel on the skin. When speed rules, cash becomes a score and every choice turns into a race. When stewardship rules, cash becomes a current and every choice shapes its flow. A steward thinks in cash flows and durability. A steward wonders how value enters, how it travels, how it rests, how it returns, and how each small improvement compounds across quarters. The focus shifts from striking gold to building a mine, from hitting a home run to learning a swing that keeps finding the middle of the bat. You can hear that shift in the way your thoughts speak to you. Less panic, more pattern, less chasing, more tending, less noise, more knowing. Momentum loves measurability. Grand declarations feed the ego for a morning, while humble metrics feed progress for years. There is quiet power in a single daily improvement that lives close to your control, a 1% edge that stacks without drama. There is quiet power in a simple weekly moment that observes what compounded and what leaked, and does so without blame. There is quiet power in letting new opportunities sleep for a night, so that the nervous system cools and the true shape of the decision appears. The brain makes better judgments after rest. Not because magic happens, but because the prefrontal regions regain access to context and consequence. Under calm, patterns that were invisible become obvious. Under calm, the difference between haste and timing becomes visible. Compounding loves boredom, and boredom is not the enemy it pretends to be. Boredom is often the doorway to mastery. The market will not applaud while you tighten one process, fix one leak, refine one offer, negotiate one cost, and then repeat. Yet this is what turns trickles into streams and streams into rivers. It is slower than stories would like and faster than cynicism admits. The paradox stands: the days feel small, the results do not. Little by little, little by little, little by little. Notice how your body responds to this pace. The shoulders settle by degrees, the jaw eases, the breath becomes rounder. Decisions feel less like cliffs and more like steps. The future stops shouting and starts nodding. The thrill of the chase is replaced by the dignity of craft. You become fluent in the progress that almost no one sees. And because almost no one sees it, almost no one copies it. That quiet edge is how families change their story, how teams earn loyalty, how work becomes legacy. The slow money law does not rob you of speed. It gives you sustainable speed. It upgrades adrenaline into endurance. There will be voices that say a path like this is naive, that the world rewards the dramatic, that the careful are left behind. The data of living tells a different tale. Those who build on rhythm rather than rush are still standing when flash fades. Those who count the cost of promises keep reputations that open doors money cannot buy. Those who treat cash as a current learn to direct it rather than drown in it. The scoreboard of a single week confuses. The scoreboard of 10 quarters tells the truth. The investor inside you already knows this, even when the influencer inside you forgets. If a name for this chapter rests anywhere, it rests in the change from sprinting for cash to stewarding cash flows. The body hears that name and relaxes because it recognizes a way of working that does not eat its own health to feed its own hunger. This is not about going slow for the sake of slowness. This is about going at a pace that dominion can hold. The harvest this path promises does not collapse under its own weight. It can be carried, it can be shared, it can be slept in peace beside. As the light shifts on the horizon of your plans, a single question becomes a compass. What tiny habit today compounds your net worth a year from now? There is a quiet bruise that forms when your value is measured by your visible income. You feel it when a month underperforms and your chest tightens as if your worth fell with the numbers. You feel it when shortcuts look like mercy and you tell yourself that everyone bends the rules a little when the pressure rises. The body learns this bargain and carries it like a weight. The breath goes shallow, the jaw sets, sleep breaks in the small hours. The story that plays is simple and exhausting. Money first, ethics later, survive now, explain later. A part of you knows this is expensive in a way no spreadsheet can capture. There is another story that starts with who you are before it counts what you have. It sounds softer, and it is stronger. Reputation becomes the first asset, not an afterthought. In practice, this means that trust begins compounding before capital does. Human nervous systems recognize reliability and open like a hand that knows it will not be cut. Memory stores the pattern. Oxytocin and calm bring the mind out of alarm, so the long view returns. People do not only buy products. People buy promises they believe, from people they believe. Over time, this invisible current moves faster than any headline. Ancient counsel names this with disarming clarity. A good name is to be chosen rather than great riches. That sentence does not shame desire. It coaches desire. It suggests that riches are loud and reputation is steady, and that steady wins in the end. It is more than moral poetry. It is competitive advantage written in simple words. A good name shortens sales cycles. It reduces refunds. It earns better terms. It keeps doors open when markets pull back. It is insurance for storms and wind for clear days. The world is noisier than ever, yet reputation is still the quiet that people lean toward. You can see the mathematics of this if you look gently. A promise kept becomes a reference becomes a second chance becomes a partnership that never needed a pitch. Refund grace turns a complaint into a testimony, and that testimony pays dividends in rooms you will never enter. Paying a vendor on time turns a transaction into an ally, and an ally into optionality when a bottleneck appears. None of this looks spectacular on a single day. All of this looks obvious when you connect the dots across a year. There is a steady rhythm that emerges when integrity moves from idea to habit. You notice how often you say yes and how often you follow through. You notice that your word arrives when it is due without drama. You notice how quickly you repair a misstep and how cleanly you honor a boundary. These are not performative moves. They are quiet indicators that tell a larger truth. Reliability is not a mood. Reliability is a system you can stand inside. Over months, this system writes a history others can trust, and that history becomes leverage that costs you nothing but attention. The temptation to cut corners does not vanish. It shifts shape. Near month end, the inner voice may whisper that a half-truth will smooth the path. During a launch, the itch to overpromise may knock with polite urgency. The body recognizes the spike and wants relief. Awareness changes the script. You can name the moment without making it your identity. You can study the pressure without surrendering to it. In that pause, your prefrontal mind comes back online and gives you access to context and consequence. Calm returns, and with calm comes the courage to choose the longer line that holds the weight. Something profound happens when you stop extracting and start embodying value. The room feels it, clients feel it, your team feels it. The atmosphere changes from persuasion to presence. You no longer argue for your worth. You demonstrate it. Deals tilt in your direction without force. A higher price makes sense because trust lowers friction, and friction is the most expensive cost in any business. The mind that once chased approval begins to hold authority, and authority does not need volume. It needs alignment. Picture a wall rising stone by stone. If the first stones are crooked, every new layer multiplies the floor. The builder keeps going, and the structure grows impressive and unstable at the same time. Now picture the plumb line in a quiet hand. The tool is simple. The test is exact. Straight walls support tall buildings. Character is the plumb line of wealth. It keeps growth from leaning into collapse. It keeps success from arguing with your sleep. It keeps expansion aligned with the kind of person you promised yourself to become when no one was watching. Your nervous system participates in this alignment. When your actions match your values, the body relaxes by degrees. Vagal tone improves. The breath deepens. You begin to think in longer horizons because the inner alarms are not hijacking your attention. Decision quality improves, not by accident, but by biology. Calm gives you access to the mental functions that assign proper weight to the future. This is why integrity is not only noble, it is practical. It is how you keep seeing the whole board when stress tries to shrink it. Over time, a good name attracts the right people and gently repels the wrong ones. It gathers covenant partners who share values and bring different strengths. It makes exit clauses clear before they are needed, and it treats wins and losses with the same honesty. The culture around you starts reflecting what you protect within you. Vendors are paid with respect. Customers are served with dignity. Agreements are honored in substance, not only in letter. The circle becomes a vault of value, and being in that circle becomes a privilege others recognize. This chapter lives close to the ground and close to the heart. It respects the pressure of bills and targets. It also respects the deeper pressure of living with yourself when the day is done. You are not trading profit for purity. You are building profit on purity because anything else collapses in the wind. Numbers will come, and they will come more quietly and more sustainably when they can rest on a name that has been chosen with care. At scale, a good name is louder than any ad spend and softer than any spin. It is the one asset that appreciates when you give it away through consistent action. If an anchor sentence could hold this moment, it would be simple. Build a name, then numbers. The order matters. The order saves you. The order multiplies the work of your hands and the work of your team, because trust is the only force in business that compounds faster than capital without burning the people who carry it. Let this be the rhythm that guides how you sell, how you serve, how you correct, and how you grow. Let it be the atmosphere of your decisions until it becomes the air of your brand. What promise will you keep this week, even when it costs you? There is a particular exhaustion that comes from collecting answers that never touch the way you live. The tabs stay open, the notebooks fill with bright ideas that never see daylight. The mind keeps buying the feeling of progress, while the body quietly knows nothing has changed. You can sense it in the way your breath speeds up when a new tactic appears on the screen, and in the way your shoulders drop when the same old pattern returns by evening. Knowledge becomes a costume that fits in public and falls apart in private. The heart begins to distrust its own enthusiasm, and the nervous system learns to brace before it believes. I see that tension. I honor it. There is a way to convert noise into nourishment so that what you learn starts carrying weight in the real world. The first shift happens inside attention. Information is loud. Insight is quiet. Income arrives where quiet has done its work. The brain rewards novelty with a quick spark and calls it excitement. That spark is not wrong. It is simply incomplete. Without application, the spark never reaches the deeper circuits that wire a new pathway. The prefrontal regions carry intention, the limbic system carries emotion, the basal ganglia builds habit, and the hippocampus stores the story. When these regions cooperate, a principle moves from headline to operating code. Calm supports this cooperation. Under calm, the mind can hold both detail and distance. Under calm, the body feels safe enough to practice instead of perform. Ancient counsel names the posture that makes this possible. Incline the ear to wisdom and apply the heart to understanding. These words do not live in theory. They are a choreography of attention and action. Inclining means listening past your impatience until the signal separates from the static. Applying means giving that signal a home in your calendar, your budget, your conversations, and your sleep. When ear and heart move together, learning stops being a collection and becomes a conversion. The inner life stops chasing and begins shaping. A simple loop brings this to ground. One principle is extracted from the noise. One small experiment is executed in the open air of a real day. One clear metric is examined to tell the truth without cruelty. Then the loop repeats. The rhythm is modest, and it is mighty. Extract, execute, examine. The words become a breath pattern. Inhale the principle, move it through the body. Exhale the lesson. A page that holds these loops becomes a decision journal that remembers without drama. Over weeks, the pages show you what your memory would distort. They reveal your edge and your blind spot. They give you evidence of growth that does not depend on mood. The ego prefers complexity because complexity flatters. Wisdom prefers clarity because clarity compounds. Many chase 10 improvements for 10 minutes and call that effort. Few take one improvement through 10 repetitions and call that mastery. The nervous system loves this steadiness. It knows what is coming. It can relax into the work. Once relaxed, it gives you access to patience, to pattern recognition, to timing that feels almost like grace. A practice like this looks small from the outside. From the inside, it feels like someone turned on a light in a room you have been walking through by guesswork. Insight is different from opinion. Insight is knowledge that has been humbled by contact with reality. It has felt resistance. It has met limits. It has learned the names of the variables that matter. Insight honors the numbers, and it honors the body that reads the numbers. It turns a tip into a threshold you can cross again and again. When insight matures, it turns into a repeatable play. Plays become playbooks. Playbooks become assets. This is the quiet road from collecting tips to compounding playbooks. You can hear the change in your language. Less hype, more history. Less promise, more proof. Picture raw ore in a miner's hands. Heavy, unimpressive, hidden potential pressed inside the rock. Now picture heat and hammer and measure. Fire reveals, pressure shapes, and the scale tells the truth. Over time, the raw ore becomes refined gold, and what once looked ordinary becomes something others recognize as valuable. Information is ore. Insight is the refining. Income is the form the value takes when the refining has been done well. Skip the fire, and you carry rocks from one room to the next. Embrace the process, and the weight you carry becomes wealth you can use. The nervous system plays a larger role here than most advice admits. When you chase every new method, you trigger the stress chemicals that narrow focus and shorten time horizons. Decisions become impulsive and then defensive. When you commit to one principle and one experiment at a time, you signal safety. Safety invites curiosity. Curiosity invites creativity. Creativity invites better experiments. Better experiments invite better data. Better data invites better judgment. The cycle turns quietly until results that once felt impossible begin to look inevitable. Calm is not passive in this story. Calm is catalytic. This approach protects dignity during the weeks that look ordinary. You no longer need to prove growth with spectacle because you can trace growth with evidence. The page shows that you tightened one process and saved a percentage. The page shows that a small change raised a conversion and lowered a refund. The page shows that an offer spoke more clearly and a customer returned without being chased. You begin to believe your own progress because you can see it. That belief keeps you moving when mood would otherwise quit. That belief is not fantasy. It is fidelity to what is quietly true. There is a beautiful economy that appears when the loop runs long enough. You find that learning becomes cheaper and output becomes richer. You find that fewer ideas enter the system because the bar for entry has risen. You find that the ones that enter receive the attention they deserve. The team feels this. Meetings grow lighter, debriefs grow sharper. Everyone knows the single improvement the week is holding, and everyone knows how the week will tell you if the improvement held. This is how cultures change without slogans. This is how competence grows without noise. What grows within you during this chapter is as important as what grows in your ledger. Patience begins to feel like power rather than punishment. Curiosity returns without the restless edge. Confidence becomes quieter and deeper because it is built on practice rather than posturing. The old pattern that searched for answers to borrow matures into a new pattern that creates answers to offer. The market can feel the difference. It responds to the weight of someone who has done the refining in private. From here, the path keeps its gentleness and its strength. Extract one clear principle from the static of the week. Execute one experiment that fits inside the life you are actually living. Examine one metric that tells the truth without drama. Then repeat with kindness. Over time, the loop builds a history. Over time, the history builds a name. Over time, the name builds an income that can breathe. What single principle will you test for 7 days with a clear metric? There is a specific loneliness that settles in when you carry the whole vision on your back. You wake before the sun and the room already feels heavy. You push through the day with a jaw that forgets how to unclench. You keep the books, make the pitch, deliver the work, answer support, and by night your chest hums with a tired pride that hides a quiet fear. The fear says you cannot stop because no one else will catch it if you fall. The fear says self-made is safer. The nervous system learns that sentence and begins to organize your choices around it. Your circle shrinks. Your offers narrow, your growth plateaus, not because you lack will, but because you have no one to widen your will into reach. There is another way that begins with a simple human truth. People are not just costs on a spreadsheet. People are power in motion. The right ones multiply what money alone cannot. They multiply context. They multiply courage. They multiply patience that is alert and speed that is sustainable. Biology agrees with this. In safe partnership, the stress response cools and the prefrontal mind returns to full strength. You see options you were blind to. You design moves that need more than one set of hands and more than one way of seeing. The room changes its weather. The work changes its weight. Ancient counsel speaks with a steadiness that modern life keeps rediscovering. Two are better than one. Wages are warmer when shared. A cord of 3 strands holds what one strand cannot. These are not slogans. They are physics of the soul. They tell the truth about risk and resilience. They name the simple miracle that happens when aligned lives braid strength, skill, and spirit into a single pull. Momentum arrives where agreement is real. Endurance arrives where loyalty is not for sale. Covenant is the word that keeps this from sounding like a casual team-up. A contract says, keep the letter. A covenant says, keep the heart. A contract watches performance. A covenant watches the person and the purpose. The difference is felt in the nervous system. In covenant, your body stops looking for the trap and starts listening for the task. Meetings become simpler. Conflicts become cleaner. Accountability becomes mutual care rather than mutual suspicion. You can feel the dignity of this in your breath. It deepens. Your time horizon lengthens. Your decisions stop trembling. From hiring hands to yoking with minds and morals. That is the shift. You are not adding bodies to tasks. You are aligning character with outcomes. You are agreeing on values before velocity. You are placing strengths where they sing and protecting each other's blind spots before they bleed. This is not romance. This is design. It sounds soft, and it is steel. It asks questions that numbers alone cannot answer. What do we refuse to do for profit? What promise is sacred in this house? What line cannot be crossed even when the month is cruel? Clarity here is not a mood. Clarity here is a map. The practical shape of covenant is visible when the pressure rises. Roles are named without fuzz. Decisions have owners. Everyone knows who can say no when the stakes are high, and a clean exit exists that honors both sides if the road forks. Upside is shared in a way that feels fair when winds arrive. Downside is carried in a way that does not drown the smallest shoulders. Expectations are spoken out loud while the air is calm. People can do hard things when they trust the ground under their feet. Trust tends to grow where truth is handled early, not after a wound. There is an honest fear that partnership will steal speed. Sometimes it does. The wrong alliance costs more than it returns. The answer is not isolation. The answer is discernment. You are listening for aligned values and asymmetric strengths. You are drawn to people who see what you do not see and care about what you care about. You are cautious with charm that has not been tested and excited by competence that arrives without noise. You are not hunting a clone. You are welcoming a complement. Picture 2 oxen yoked together, pulling a weight that neither could move alone. The image is old, and it still breathes. The pace is set by the slower for the sake of the whole. The strength is multiplied by the match. The path is straighter because the load is shared. When the yoke is right, the work becomes a rhythm. When the yoke is wrong, the work becomes an injury. This is why covenant begins before the field. It begins with watching how a person carries small responsibility and how they tell the truth when the truth costs them something. Partnership changes money, even when it is not about money. Distribution grows because your message travels through more than one channel with more than one voice. Credibility grows because trust networks overlap. Innovation grows because your ideas collide with other minds that challenge your default settings. Optionality grows because someone you respect can say not now to a deal your adrenaline wants to chase. Safety grows, and with it, your capacity to take the right kind of risk. The math of this is hard to see on any single day and impossible to ignore across a year. Your body will send signals when you are close to the right people. Watch for the sense of relief that arrives without laziness. Notice how your breath remains steady while you disagree. Pay attention to the way silence feels in the room. If silence feels safe, you have found something rare. If silence feels strategic, you have found a partner rather than a passenger. Your nervous system is often wiser than your pride. It knows when it can rest while staying awake. Not every story ends well. Betrayals happen. Misreads happen. The answer is not to stop trusting. The answer is to tighten the way you choose and the way you repair. When harm comes, address it cleanly. When alignment shifts, name it early. When the road divides, exit with the kind of honor that lets both stories keep walking without poison. A good name, once again, protects the future, even in parting. This is still covenant. It remembers that the person matters more than the project and that tomorrow is longer than today. Over time, covenant capital becomes a flywheel. Referrals arrive without being chased. Rooms open that would have stayed shut. Knowledge is shared without fear of scarcity. Teams feel lighter because load and loyalty are balanced. The work deepens because the people deepened. Profit follows the current of trust. It often arrives quieter and larger than the loud winds you used to chase. The difference is the feeling in your bones when you lay down at night. The money did not use you to make itself. The money was made by people who kept their souls. If a sentence could hold this chapter together, it would be simple and strong. People are the multiplier. Build with those who make you more honest, more patient, more excellent, and more brave. Let agreements be clear enough to protect the friendship and generous enough to reward the outcome. Let the rope be braided in daylight so it can hold in the dark. Who turns your 1x effort into 3x, and what covenant terms protect both sides? There is a certain confusion that descends when effort feels steady, but outcomes arrive in waves. Some months bloom and you breathe without thinking about it. Some months tighten the throat and turn simple errands into heavy lifts. The nervous system reads these changes before your spreadsheets do. In summer, it invites celebration and a wider stride. In winter, it whispers fear and a smaller life. When you expect straight lines from a world that moves in cycles, every dip feels like failure and every rise tempts waste. The body swings with the chart and calls the swing reality. A wiser rhythm waits beneath that swing, asking you to build a life that can carry both rain and drought without losing its center. The myth of linear progress is persuasive because it flatters our need for certainty. We imagine that if we work well, the graph will rise in a smooth climb and never scare us. Life has another design. Value grows like vineyards, not like escalators. There is a time to sow and a time to tend, a time to harvest and a time to prune. There is a time when the field looks empty while roots are busy in the dark, and a time when fruit is heavy and the branches demand care. When you befriend this pattern, your nervous system receives permission to stop panicking during the quiet and stop overspending during the bright. Calm returns because you are no longer arguing with the way things are made. Downturns have a sound inside the body. The breath goes shallow and the mind begins bargaining. You consider selling the very tools that would carry you through the valley. You chase a flashy offer that does not fit your name. You add noise to the market and call it a pivot. In upswings, the body hums with relief and the mind relaxes its vigilance. You hire too fast and buy too much and promise more than you can hold. The wisdom beneath both seasons is the same. Design the system when you are calm so that fear and euphoria do not get to steer. Fear is a terrible chief. Euphoria is not a strategist. Calm is the ground where good judgment grows. One way to honor the seasons is to build with a barbell shape. On one end, you keep a strong base that protects your life and your work. This is simple cash and safe reserves that let you sleep, plan, and say no when a bad deal arrives, dressed as opportunity. On the other end, you place a small number of carefully chosen bets with real upside and limited downside. You do not sprinkle effort everywhere. You place it where asymmetric potential lives. The middle is kept lean so that you do not sink into heavy fixed costs that cannot breathe when the wind shifts. This balance does not excite social feeds, it excites longevity. Storage is the quiet hero of any journey from 0 to 1 million. Storage steadies the hand that signs contracts and calms the voice that presents price. With 6 to 12 months of essential expenses stored, your nervous system stops negotiating with scarcity and starts thinking with clarity. You sell from a place that does not need to plead. You negotiate from a place that can walk away. You lead a team with a tone that does not leak panic. The numbers are not merely numbers, they are signals the body reads all day. Safety in the bank becomes safety in the breath, and safety in the breath frees the mind to do its best work. Seeds are the quiet hero's partner. Seeds represent patient experiments planted in good soil with realistic timelines. In hard quarters, you will feel the itch to dig them up and check if they are growing. In bright quarters, you will feel the itch to plant a field you cannot water. Seeds ask for faith and for planning. Each one needs a reason to exist, a way to be measured, and a season to be judged. Not all will sprout. That is not failure, that is agriculture. The harvest you are imagining is not a single bet paying off. The harvest you are imagining is a pattern of small, faithful acts, maturing into a result that looks inevitable in hindsight. Pruning is the part few talk about because it feels like loss. The vine that is not pruned grows leaves and shows off. It looks alive and bears little. The vine that is pruned carries fruit that can feed a table. In work, the same law holds. Offers that do not convert should be retired. Channels that drain attention without return should be closed. Expenses that grew during a season of expansion should be reviewed and, when necessary, released. This is not punishment. This is kindness to the tree you are hoping will last. Your body will protest at first, and then it will thank you. The sound of a clean yes needs the space created by clean no. Your inner world participates in all of this. In winter, a dysregulated system narrows vision and shortens time. You will be tempted to make permanent decisions in temporary weather. In summer, a dysregulated system expands ego and forgets gravity. You will be tempted to mistake momentum for invincibility. Regulation returns when you design small rituals that anchor you to truth rather than mood. A walk at the same hour, a review at the same interval. A question that brings you back to purpose. These are not decorations. They are guardrails that keep your mind within the window where wisdom operates. Diversification is not a spell. It is humility expressed in numbers. No single stream carries the whole dream. When you spread your portion across different channels with honest attention to risk and correlation, you reduce the chance that a single storm ruins a season. You stop trying to predict the weather and start preparing for it. Preparation is not fear. Preparation is respect. It is how you greet bright days without arrogance and dark days without despair. Design for seasons rather than react to them. That sentence, when it settles, changes many small moves. It changes how you price and how you pace. It changes how you hire and how you pause. It changes the cadence of launches and the speed of changes. It makes room for reflection so that action is not theater. It makes room for action so that reflection does not become avoidance. Over time, the system begins to feel like a well-tended field. Even in winter, there is a plan. Even in summer, there are boundaries. Everyone who works with you can feel the steadiness of that plan. Clients can feel it, partners can feel it, your family can feel it. The vineyard remains the best picture for this chapter. Walk through it in your mind. See the rows aligned to catch the light. See the irrigation set to a rhythm the roots can trust. See the careful cuts that looked like loss and tasted like sweetness later. Hear the quiet of patient weather. A harvest like this respects all the hours that were quiet and all the hands that were steady when no one was clapping. The older you get in business, the more this image becomes home, not because you have grown timid, but because you have grown wise. When you build with seasons in mind, gains stop surprising you and losses stop defining you. You become the kind of person who can carry both without breaking. Your breath keeps its depth. Your word keeps its value. Your work keeps its dignity. That steadiness becomes the true asset others feel when they stand near you. It is not loud, it is not fragile. It is the kind of wealth that can be inherited because it is character before cash and rhythm before rush. Which branch will you prune this quarter to sweeten the main vine? By now, the body has learned a slower power, breath steadier, shoulders lower, decisions less like cliffs and more like steps. A life like this welcomes a simple cadence that keeps wisdom from drifting back into wishful thinking. Many find strength in a rhythm that touches the day in 5 small ways. A quiet moment to notice 1% progress and what quietly improved. A brief glance at promises made and promises kept so a good name keeps its shine. A single note in a living journal that turns knowledge into tested insight. A gentle connection with the people who multiply courage and clarity. A short check on the season so cash, risk and focus stay aligned with weather rather than mood. None of this needs spectacle. Each touch is light. Together, they feel like scaffolding around becoming. Transformative conclusion. The journey from 0 to 1 million is smaller and deeper than most stories admit. It is less about a performance and more about a person. It is the story of compounding over speed until patience turns into power. It is the story of character before capital until reputation opens doors money could not. It is the story of turning information into insight into income until proof speaks softly and is believed. It is the story of covenant capital until the right people turn effort into force. It is the story of seasons and storage and seeds until timing becomes an ally and pruning becomes a kindness. This is not a fairy tale. It is a faithful tale. It does not deny struggle. It teaches struggle to serve growth. There is a kind of wealth that respects the nervous system that earns it. There is a kind of success that can lie down at night without arguing with sleep. There is a kind of name that grows louder when it is whispered by those who were served well. On this road, the numbers rise as a result, not as a verdict. On this road, the person inside the work becomes the asset that cannot be shaken. The future stops feeling like an enemy to outrun and starts feeling like a friend that multiplies every honest step. The final question, which single practice begins today that your future self will call the turning point?